Okay, so I've moved the camera in a little bit so you can possibly see some of these pieces. As I was saying, we've got some orange pieces, and I really wanted to gradate or find a nice gradation of color from the orange to the yellow, as well as create a nice flow in the glass to go around this edge. So I tend to mark things a lot. So if I wanted this piece to butt up against here, I don't quite have the right angle. So if I hold my glass up to where I want to put it, then I'll be able to see where to mark my line. And that looks pretty good. I might need to adjust it a little bit. And then you snip. And again, like, nothing's a deal breaker, because if you snip and it doesn't turn out right, well, snip again. So I really like how this is coming along. And you just keep going and going and finding the piece that you like that fits in that space. Sometimes it happens so easy, and sometimes it doesn't. That's why I kind of liken this to creating a puzzle. It's kind of like doing a puzzle, but you're creating the pieces yourself as you go along. That's not a bad piece. Kind of like how that's working as well. So I kind of like where that's going. So I'm gonna go ahead and glue this down. At some point, you know, your pieces start moving. So it's like, well, I don't want them to move anymore. I like them where they're at. Remember to leave a little bit of a gap for your grout lines. And I just keep playing around with it until I find what I like. Yep. And the glue doesn't harden straight away, so you still have a little bit of a play time. You know, you still have some time to work with it a little bit. And if you find you don't like it, well, take it up. Try to take it up before it hardens all the way. But it's not a deal breaker, again, if it happens that way. So I'd really like to put in a couple pieces that I can start making this look a little bit more like it's coming downward. I want a flow like that. I kind of like how that piece works. We can always create a little triangle there for that. And then we'll be able to come in here and butt up put some yellow up against that. That might create just a nice little flow for that. Kind of like that. It might be a little bit too big. I definitely like this piece though. Remember, leave a little spot for your grout line, for your grout. I tend to get a little tight with mine. That's not a bad thing. Like I said, it everyone has their method of doing things. This has a little bit of a flip down here at the end, and I really don't want that. So I'm just gonna nip that a little bit. And again, if you have a grinder, you can always grind something off. Some artists are definitely against the grinder, and some artists embrace the grinder. So you're going to find what makes you comfortable, because this should be fun. This isn't one of those things that, you know, should torture you, because that's not what it's about. Being creative should not be a torture session. I'm gonna take that off a little bit. So this is all about creating a shape and a flow. And then, let's see, if you can see this, I really don't want it to end that way. So I'm gonna take that off right there. I go ahead and mark it. It's easier to mark it than sometimes if you eye it. I get it backwards a lot because I've moved the piece from its original spot and I pick it up, and next thing you know, I'm cutting it the opposite way, which way I want it. So it's no harm, no foul putting a little bit of ink on there, because you can always wipe that up later. So do you see how that's kind of creating a little bit of a gradation in the colors? And look, every once in a while you get one that just, it was meant to be there. It fit. You didn't even have to try, didn't have to modify it. It just went right where you wanted it to be. So if you don't like dealing with these little pieces, some people don't, it's all a matter of taste, then you don't have to do them this big. Like I said, it's all on what you're comfortable with. And let me move this over here. It's all what you're comfortable with. I kind of go for the challenge, and a lot of my pieces, I barely have any grout lines, and quite a few of my pieces, I don't grout. It's not because I don't know how to do it. There's something about the life of the glass and the color and the vibrancy of it that when you grout, it kind of flattens it a little bit, but yet in some ways grout enhances the piece. So when you're done, if you like the piece just the way it is and you want to leave it, there's no rule that says you have to grout, okay? So you get people on both sides of the fence as far as grouting. All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop this one, and you can, I'll pick it up in a little bit.